Hi everyone, Bren here. Welcome to this week's video where I'm going to give you an update on some of the edible crops I have growing here in the garden. So I'm talking about those cold hardy crops plus some of the beautiful fruit trees like the orange one that I'm standing beside and the lemon tree. But let's start off with the potatoes that I planted this week. I finally got around to planting my potatoes. They're in here, a variety of potato called Kifler. As far as I can remember, there's about 5 of them in here in this bag, which is, I don't know the exact measurements, but I would say roughly it's about 2 foot in diameter. Now, it was about 2 weeks back that I showed you all of these potatoes which I had purchased that ended up sprouting in my cupboard. Thanks so much for all of your words of encouragement when it comes to trying to grow these store-bought potatoes. Many of you have grown these before with lots of success, so I'm going to follow your lead and try it out for myself. I've got lots of shoots that have come out of the potatoes, many of them developing little small roots. So when I put these in the ground, what I'm hoping will happen is that all of these shoots will continue to grow, and then from them you'll get some lovely green stems that will come up, lots of foliage, and underground there will be heaps of potatoes that will start to develop, and hopefully come springtime I'll be doing a nice big harvest. I'm so excited about what's happening here in the onion bed. The plants have grown quite a lot over the last couple of weeks. Remember when I first showed them to you, they were like little tiny strands of hair, and if you were to stand over this bed you'd hardly notice them. And now when I'm out here looking, I can actually see them from above, which is pretty cool. Did you know that onions were worshipped by the ancient Egyptians? They believed that this spherical shape and concentric ring symbolized eternity. I know that's a bit of random information, but I recently found that out and I thought it was interesting, so yeah, I thought I'd share it with you. Speaking of onions, pardon the mess out here, my garden, it's awful at the moment, but that's all right. Yeah, speaking of onions, or more like the allium family, I did make a few more purchases which I need to plant out. You'd swear I won the lotto or something, because every week I keep on showing you all these purchases, but of course I haven't. And I'm really excited about growing all of these, particularly the potato onion. I just can't get my head around how these grow. So I put one in. I guess it's like a shallot. You put one in and then it kind of multiplies. The packet's saying for each of these bulbs, they will develop into 8 or 12 more. So the idea is I'll put that in, and then I don't even know how deep to do it. Oh, I'm so new at this. I don't know. I'll have to read through all the instructions. But I assume that will go underground, and then, could be wrong there, so don't listen to me. So I'll plant this, and then around it there'll be 8 or 12 more of these all together in a big clump. That's going to be really cool if I can grow these. I'll be so excited. Now, I did plant up a few more containers since last week. I hope I don't double up and everything, but I believe, oh no, I showed you those ones. Did I show you these? I don't know, did I show you those? The bamboo flowers. Well, anyway, I've got them in there. These two are full of daffodil bulbs. This one's got Dutch irises in it. There's really not much to look at with those, but here I've got some chives, and then I think I've already shown you all these other ones. Actually no, I haven't. I did this container too. Again, nothing to look at really. But this is the before, I guess you'd say. These ones have the Sparaxis, however you say that. They're in here. Did I put the 100 bulbs in? I think I actually did. Wow, that's a bit ambitious. Hopefully they'll grow all right in this pot. Look what I've got here. An Icelandic poppy. It's just randomly flowered. I won't really get a big display of these poppies until spring, but it's so nice to have one just open up now. That can happen sometimes. Sometimes your plants put out these random flowers, but they don't really take off until the weather warms up. There are many reasons why a plant can put out a flower out of season. I don't know exactly why this poppy plant has done this, Some reasons could be stress, which I often find is the most common cause of a plant putting out blooms too early. Others can be a hormonal imbalance in the plant, something with the genetics of the plant, the environment, the weather, lots of different things. No idea why the poppy's doing it. It's not really a big deal. I actually really enjoy it, so I'm just going to leave it be. I can start harvesting the outer leaves of this purple mizuna. I noticed the base of the kohlrabis, the purple kohlrabis, are starting to swell up slightly. And I just pulled back some of the mulch to reveal the start of the beetroots. Over here where I have a lot of brassicas, I have noticed, I don't know if they are technically brassicas, are they? But these are Brussels sprout plants. Let's take a closer look. You can see at the end of all of these little side branches, that little mound there, that's the start of the Brussels sprouts. It's so chilly out here today and the wind is really starting to pick up. We actually had frost a couple of mornings this week. Oh, I just couldn't get over seeing the car being covered in it, the ground. Not too bad now, so I can't really complain too much, but enough to get me a little bit worried about some of my plants. This part of the garden is so overgrown. I still haven't managed to clear it out, but I did want to show you this little patch of fever view. It's still going. Can you believe it? Lots of beautiful stems on here. I should really come out and pick a whole big posy to bring inside the house. I've got a little bit of statice. There's also a bit of purple. There's some ageridum and some cornflowers. This is how out of control my garden is. Like, I just have to take one step at a time because the weeds, the grass, everything, like these dahlias need to be cut back. I need to clear out here, create the pathway again. Oh, at least the chickens have plenty of food they can eat on and lots of little insects around the place that they can enjoy. I noticed some of the lemons are starting to get a bit of colour on them. Hopefully I'll be harvesting them in maybe 8 or so weeks. As these lemons develop, I could come out here and thin them out if I wanted to. If I noticed a big cluster of them together, I could remove the smaller ones. There are advantages to doing this. It can help with airflow. It can also mean that the lemons that remain get more nutrients and they perhaps may even grow a bit larger. And it also stops any branches from breaking. Remember, I did have a branch break last year. But in general, I have to say I don't really bother thinning out my lemons. All of the oranges have really coloured up now compared to when I showed them to you last, but they're still incredibly small compared to normal. I don't think I got around to showing you this. So here's the area where we've been clearing for our renovations. Look what we discovered. A random spoon. It must have been thrown down here at one stage when this tree, which is actually a privet, that's why we've cut it back. Well, we had to cut it back anyway, but look how bad it is. Privets go everywhere. But the spoon itself has, or I should really say the tree has grown around the spoon. It's pretty cool, isn't it? There's still a number of these red Thai chilies on the plant, which I haven't harvested. One of many things to do out here, but the actual plant itself seems to have survived the light frost we got. But I think what I need to do really is what you suggested, is cover this bed up with some frost cloth. And so rather than what I usually do, digging out the chili plants and putting them in pots, I'm going to try this year leaving these 6 pots here in this bed and see if I can just protect them over winter. And then that means that the plants won't get disturbed from being dug up, and hopefully it means that, come springtime I'll get a harvest a lot sooner than I would if I was to transplant them back into this bed. I've still got the odd few carrots in here, not too many at this stage, but enough to come out and just pick 1 or 2 if I'm adding them into a dish. There's just so much that needs to be done out here. I still haven't sorted out the dahlias that I cut back in this bed and the one over here. Yeah, I need to cover those chilies over in this spot. There's a few beds that need to be topped up with soil. It needs a desperate weeding, like massive weeding. Yeah, maybe this weekend. Hopefully I'll have a few hours free where I can at least make it look presentable. The great thing is though that we are heading into winter, so it doesn't matter too much if the garden's a bit messy. I've got plenty of time now to get it all cleaned up and ready for spring. Anyway, speaking of cleaning up, I need to head inside, get the place looking all right, get the dinner made. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you again next Friday.